Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Series A, Dhamma Talk number 13. We are talking about how to deepen our meditation practice. The deeper you can penetrate into your meditation, the faster and the clearer insight will arise in a yogi. To any yogis, whether you are a beginner's rookie starting today, or whether you have been practicing for some time, or whether you have a great parami from the past, regardless, whatever type of yogis, if you follow these instruction, basically how to deepen your practice, how to strengthen, how to make it strong and firm and sharp. You will all experience people who have never had any practice. They too, if you follow within a week, you will start uncovering or experience the true nature of mind and matter. And people who are already practicing for some time and already have quite a number of experiences or insight, they too will experience farther, deeper, clearer insight of the true nature of mind and matter. And also people who has great parami from the past, if they practice, their progress will be very fast and they could easily reach the path and fruition, Magga and Phala. But let's suppose one has a great parami from the past. If you practice, you can attain this path and fruition knowledge. Even that person, if you don't practice correctly, if you don't practice deeply and committedly, they will not. So keep that in mind. Even though you might have great parami from the past, if you do not practice, or if you do not practice correctly or committedly, one will not experience. So eventually it boils down to who is working really hard, correctly, systematically, and committedly. That is the key point. So in here, in the last 12 lectures, we have been dealing with many different means and ways of how to deepen your practice. In short, whenever one is practicing, she or he has an attitude of inclining the mind towards the cessation or the ending of all nama and rupas, all phenomenons. You have to incline your mind. If you don't incline your mind, you might be practicing and it might take a long, long time before you can actually experience the cessation or the ending of this nama phenomenon and rupa phenomenon. phenomenon of mind and phenomenon of matter. So one has to incline the mind. I am going to practice in such a way I will experience all endings of every object that I am observing. And keeping that in mind, then one began to practice how respectfully, penetratively, intensely, seriously, closely. That is how. And we have talked about it for many lectures in the past. We have covered that. So we have covered that two aspects in the last 12 lectures. And today, there's another step. Another step in one sentence is one need to practice this mindfulness insight meditation continuously so that there's no break and no gap. In one sentence, that's it. You must bring your meditation to the continuity. There's no break or no gap. So when you say no break or no gap, it quantifies two states in your practice. And these refer directly to the retreat stage, not just staying at home and meditating for half an hour or 1 hour. Especially in retreat, specifically in retreat, one must not take a break. What does it mean by a break is, we all know in this particular method that we are practicing, we go for a retreat, whether it is a 4 days or 7 days or 6 months. We practice whatever that duration that we have set our mind to every day based on the moment you wake up, let's say about 4 o'clock in the morning to the moment you go to bed, that's 10 o'clock. From 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock, that's about 18 hours. During that 18 hours period, you do not take a break. What does it mean by taking a break is, let's say you're meditating and then after lunch, okay, I'll take a little break, I'll rest. Okay. In other words, you do not observe. You are not mindful. Oh, I'll keep myself in a quiet zone. That's about it. But you do not have that mindfulness. You take a break. Or, oh, it's very tiring. I've been meditating for about 4 weeks. I'm exhausted. My physical energy is drained. I will take a little rest. Take a little rest means go to a quiet space or go to your room and then rest it a bit without continuous mindfulness. I'll take a break. If I take a break about half an hour, or if I take a little nap because I'm really exhausted and sleepy, I'll go take a nap for about 15 minutes during the day. After that, I'll be re-energized and I can even meditate more. Otherwise, if I keep on meditating, it is drowsy, no energy, cannot really concentrate. It is useless. That's how the rational mind is used. The rational mind set it in that way, and you take a little break for half an hour or 15 minutes or 10 minutes. That's what's meant by taking a break. And here, let's say you're meditating for 3 months. In 3 months, there may be days and periods you are full of energy and you are going very well. And there will be days you are very exhausted and very tiring. There will be days that you are fairly weak due to some illness. All sort of different conditions will arise during the 3 months because we are simply a human being with Nama and Rupa, body and mind, and they have their own operational system. And whenever those happen, the mind rationalizes to take a break. And in here is, don't take a break. You are tired, still meditate. You are ill, still meditate. You are sick, still meditate. So that there would be no break. Of course, there's a different way of putting or focusing the mindfulness. We all know how to put it very intensely and closely. Okay. You have to double, triple your energy and then you focus. Okay. Mini moment by mini moment by mini moment. Or you can still, at the same time, just general awareness. You don't have to exert that much energy, but still you're with the mindfulness. That kind of variation you can utilize based on your situation, but do not purposely take a break to recharge. That's what it means by breaks. And then another word, there's a gap. The gap. The gap is, again, we are talking about the break is purposely taking 10 minutes break, 15 minutes break, like a coffee break, taking it. Gap is no. Sometimes you try to slack off. Slack off is, let's say you're doing a walking meditation. Walking meditations, or I'm very tired. And then suddenly from that normal speed that you are observing to a very slightly lighter mode, a lot lighter mode. When you put into a lot lighter mode, or even going into the very slow mode to the fast mode, suddenly you will shift your mind a gear greatly. Whenever you shifted your mind greatly, there is some sort of a gap without observation occurs. Gap without observation occurs. Those kind of gaps could happen. So that's what its gap means. And these gaps are especially in our daily activities, because we have 3 different modes of meditation: sitting mode, walking meditation mode, daily activity modes. Sitting meditation is we are sitting still and observing and observing, observing. So the situation or the condition gives you very little opportunity to take a break or to have a gap, except that you go into the thinking mode. Thinking mode for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You just drifted away. Sometimes it happens when you are tired, the body and the mind cannot really contain, and then whenever it goes into the thought mode, you let it go into the thought mode because you want to escape from that tiredness. As you want to escape from the tiredness, you, of course, don't purposely think it into a thought, but you let it drift into it, and you can drift for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That is a gap. And even thinking for about 30 seconds or 1 minute is a gap. But you are meditating, the thoughts come in. one sentence, half a sentence, a few words, or maybe about 2 sentences. More like thoughts are like a flight, in a mode of flight. You're meditating, the thoughts come in, it's just like a shadow. You are aware that's a thought, but there's no distinction. But at the same time, you sense the thought like a shadow. Just flip over that, and then you're aware that's a thought, thinking, and then go back to whatever the object is, rising or falling or lifting or pushing. That's not a gap. The thoughts come in, those little flighty thoughts, shadowy thoughts will be coming in. The deeper and deeper you get, you will see this actually like shadows going. There's a sunny, and then there's a cloud just come in and darken it and gone and light again. Just like that, these kind of little thoughts, very, very swift thoughts. You know it's a thought, but there is no identification anymore. But regardless, it's still a thought, and you know that is the thought, and that is not called gap. You are fully cognitive of all things, both physical and mental phenomena. So don't think there will be no thought arising. There's a thought, you cognize it right away. It's just like a little shadow pass over you, and then you will go right back to the primary object. That's not a gap. But if you sit and think for about 1 minute or 2 minutes or 10 minutes, that's a gap. But regardless, sitting meditation has the least chance of having a gap if you exert your energy. And walking meditation, when you do walking meditation, that's different. Walking meditation is you are not sitting still. Okay? You are not sitting still. Your eyes are not closed. You are in motion. Some people like to go and take a walking meditation outside for fresh air, for this reason or that reason. But regardless, that's your choice. Whether you stay in the meditation hall and walk the same park for 3 months, or whether you go and outside under a shade of trees or a little park, that's your choice. But regardless, as soon as you go outside, there's a change of scenery, there's a change of environment, there's a change of condition. Every condition, your environment has changed. There could be people walking by. There could be birds flying around. If you are in a forest situation, there might still be some little animals, squirrels, deers, and so on and so forth. These things come in. When these can come in, what it means is there are many, many, many objects came. The birds chirping. And as many objects come in, quite a number of the yogis, they lost mindfulness and drift or shift to observation or observing or listening these things. By doing so, you have created a gap. So in other words, walking meditation creates a condition, an environment, okay, which is more conducive to have gaps in your mindfulness. So be even more careful when you do walking meditation. Okay. If possible, just take one part. And even outside, just take one part. Don't move around and go there. The first 1 or 2 or 3 days, there might be a lot of little things distract you. But after about 3 days, if it is the same path back and forth, everything becomes normalized. And your senses will not be attractive by that surrounding anymore. So you have to make this environment and situation common and no extra stimulus can arise. By doing so, you eliminate the chances of having a gap. So that is walking meditation. But in daily activities have a lot more things going on. There's a lot more things on whenever one shifted to the other, whenever you are seeing food, smelling food, having a shower, and so on and so forth. There are so many things. Because of that, you must be even more mindful. But one thing is, as we all know, the intensity, the focus, how deep your mindfulness in a daily activity is, you have to adjust it accordingly. You can keep the general awareness, but that general awareness should be continuous in that mode. So this gap is more, can come in a lot more in a daily activities, and you have to treat them accordingly. This continuous mindfulness without having any break and any gap is very important for your progress and insight. Because our meditation is quite different from others. Others meditation, so others mean there's only two major types, Vipassana or Satipatthana Vipassana, or concentration meditation. Concentration meditation, you simply take one object and you fuse yourself with it. As you fuse yourself with it, as long as whatever the period, 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, during that time you fused it. After that, you get up and you go around, you read a book, you relax. That is fine. But you go back again and you said, I'm going to sit for 4 hours. You sit for 4 hours. And around that time, you just intensely do it. And after that, you take a break. That's fine. But this meditation is mindfulness is not like that. You cannot create it and stop and create it and stop. And here, it needs a momentum. Because in this meditation, you are not producing the highly concentrated mind. Concentration is not being produced continuously as such. Because the way we develop concentration is moment to moment to moment. Each moment, each observation, depending on how deep you go in or how general you look at it, that is created the intensity of concentration. Just one burst. The moment you see the object until disappear, and how deeply you engage with that object created the amount of concentration. And it comes and it is gone. But at the same time, we need a certain degree of concentration, a certain level of concentration, which is not absorption. Absorption is jhana. Now, before absorption, they call it upachara, neighborhood to the absorption. To that level, to that intensity, equivalent intensity of concentration is absolutely required to experience insight of mind and matter. Without that concentration, you will not experience insight. So, how can we develop that kind of level or power of concentration? Because we only have one moment at a time of concentration. One moment at a time and gone, one moment at a time gone, we won't be able to bring up to that level. So to be able to bring up to that level, that short and strong and powerful burst of concentration, whenever one arises and disappears, whenever one disappears, you build another one. You engage another one, you engage another one, you engage another one. By continuously engaging this concentration, short, strong, powerful moment concentration, but right one after the other, if you have that momentum, okay, there's no gap from the previous concentration to this concentration, and there will be no gap to this concentration and the next concentration that is going to come. There's no gap, no gap, no gap, no gap. If you can bring these short and powerful momentary concentration without gap between one to the other, they build up a momentum. When they build up a momentum, they build up the concentration power equivalent to Upachara Samadhi. Upachara Samadhi means neighborhood concentration and samatha meditation. That much. And Upachara Samadhi, what it means is, at that moment, the mind is totally pure and clear. Number one, it's totally away from lobha and dosa. And also, the mind is not absorbed yet into the object. As it's not absorbed yet, the mind can investigate the environment, the surrounding, the condition. There's two qualities in that mode. That's why we need that kind of level of power. When you have that kind of power without lobha and dosa, greed and anger, and when you are practicing vipassana, what you are doing was every moment is you are observing the matter of the mind. So you are seeing, you are feeling, you are sensing the matter of mind as it is at that moment. So you have no delusion about it. You see the mind as it is. You see the matter as it is. You see the body as it is. You see the thought as it is. Without delusion, without being mixed up. So there's no lobha, no dosa, no moha. At that moment, okay, that's a total clarity of mind. Clarity of mind is a mind without lobha, dosa, and moha. That mind is powerful to penetrate into the nature of mind and matter. That's what is needed. So you need a continuous, without having any gap of this short, powerful, momentary concentration, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. But to be able to have that, okay, how do we create these short and powerful concentration? We created these short and powerful concentration through mindfulness, deep, penetrative mindfulness. Mindfulness is the one. So in other words, you have to have a very strong and powerful mindfulness, continuity of mindfulness. In other words, full momentum of mindfulness. There's no gap between from one mindfulness to the other, one mindfulness to the other. That's why we need it. And that's why I started with, what does it mean by mindfulness? Does the thought has to be totally gone, no more thoughts, only then there's mindfulness? No. There could be a shadowy nature of thought still there. It becomes shadowy because you catch the thought so fast. As soon as they arise, you catch it, and they simply disappear. Shadowing means you see the cessation of the thought instantly as it arises. That's how you felt the shadowy nature when you're observing a thought. In other words, that is the indication of a very strong, powerful mindfulness. Without that, you will not see the shadowy thought. You will see the totally full-blown thoughts with words and with sentences and with stories and with pictures. Then it is gone. There's no more mindfulness. So keep that in mind. Strong, powerful, momentous mindfulness doesn't mean that there is not a single trace of thought. It could be without a single trace of thought, but also there could be flighty, shadowy thoughts. They just like split second come and gone. So all that I'm trying to say is I want you to have a very clear understanding of what you are doing and what is happening and what it means of that what is happening. So when you have this strong and powerful, continuous mindfulness with full momentum, you will have a very strong and powerful concentration, samadhi. When you have the strong and powerful concentration, samadhi, every object that you are observing, you see their own nature. You see their true nature, you see their true nature, you experience the true nature, depending on what level, of course. If you are the beginning stage, you will see the true natures that belongs to the beginning stage, and the middle stage, or higher stage, or right at the top stage. How and what you will see depends on which level you are at. So in other words, there will be also the continuous insight or knowing the true nature of mind and matter, which is called jnana, insight or wisdom. That's how it goes. So here, it is absolutely necessary for a yogi to practice and become very skillful so that one can observe continuous mindfulness without a break or a gap. A break is purposely taking larger one. A gap is that moment between one observation to the other, one observation to the other. It can be established. Many people have already established it. But don't think, of course, you're meditating for 18 hours today. All 18 hours, no gap. Still there's a gap, but the gap will be minimized by the duration that is well. Sometimes if you can go for about 2-3 hours without a gap, it's very good. You will be experiencing it. And as soon as you have gap, the way you progress change. You have to build up again, build up again, build up again. Because of that, it said no break and no gap. As soon as you take a break and a gap, you are starting from square one. And in the scripture, it is given this very good analogy, In the olden days, they don't have lighters and matches and stuff like that. You don't carry with lighter. People travel, and if they want to make fire, many thousands years ago, what they do was, you take 2 dry sticks, one put it on the ground solid, a little flatter, a little bit more like a hole, and another stick, and you stick in there, and you use your 2 palms, and you just roll and roll and roll and roll. You rub your hands back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, so that the point of the stick is really digging, creating a friction with another sticks. And if you keep on doing it, and then suddenly what happened after about a minute, oh, it is really tiring, it hurts my hand. You take a break, you stop it, stretch your hand, crack your fingers, crack your knuckles, and then go back again. You rest, go back again. You might be doing the whole hour, there will be no fire. And now you are rubbing it, rubbing it, rubbing it. Your hands become tired. No, you keep rubbing it. Your hands even hurt, but you're still rubbing it. You don't stop and you don't stop. It's tiring, it is hurting, it's aching, your shoulders ache. Eventually you start seeing the smoke. Once you start seeing the smoke, in other words, when there is a smoke, already there's a fire. You may not see the flame, but the fire is already started. And suddenly you put the dry leaves over and you blow. So what is here is, you can only make the fire if you don't stop rubbing it till you see the smoke. So that is the example in the scripture is given. And the same thing in here too, in this mindfulness insight meditation. Just like rubbing the two hands, you have to observe and observe and observe and observe till you see the continuous momentum of mindfulness, concentration, and the nature of mind and matter. If you take a break, it is just like lighting the fire. You start rubbing again. You build up, you build up, build up. Because in here we need a momentum, that momentum of continuous observation without a break and without a gap. So that is the reason we've been instructed, we have been encouraged to observe. Okay. First of all, you have to incline your mind towards a cessation of all phenomena, or let's say all of your observation. You must see the ending. Incline your mind. You may see it, you may not see it, but you have to incline your mind. Especially at the beginning, you won't see it, but regardless, I am going to. And then you practice this very respectfully, as if it is a precious jewel. And then you practice it seriously and penetratively. Penetratively means deep. You engage with that object at that moment. Nothing else there except that object and you. That is the universe. That's penetrative. And then that kind of engagement, that kind of observation has to be continuous, without taking any break and without taking any gap. No talking in between, no sleeping between, no discussion between. Simply your observation and yourself. That's it. If you do that, you see, even the rookie, the beginners, will experience the insight within 3 to 7 days at a lower level. People who already are fairly advanced, they will see clearer and sharper and more. People with great parami will reach path and fruition. This is critical. And these three are not separate. You do this, you do that, this is one phase, this is another phase. No. That mind inclining to see the cessation in every observation that is there. In every observation to engage it seriously it is there. And at the same time, that series to go continuously, it is there. These all three different things are operating like a one single unit at every moment. It is not that you go one step at a time. This is step one, this is step two, this is step three. They are many parts of the same step when you are observing it. So this is how one needs to observe. Incline the mind towards the cessation of all phenomena, practicing respectfully and seriously, and put an ardent effort. There will be no break, taking no break, and there must be no gap between each observation. That's how one must practice. If you do that, you surely will reach your goal. So in here, one thing is we talk about observing in here. One is continuously, no break and no gap. There are three modes. One is a sitting meditation mode, easy enough. Secondly is walking meditation mode. And thirdly is, we call it daily activities mode. But that Buddha expound on the daily activities mode. We are simply talking about, all that we are talking was, simply we go to a retreat. In a modern time, there's a great retreat center, there's a great support, everybody cook, and you have to do nothing. Okay? All that you do is meditate. So in other words, it cut down a lot of your activities. But in the olden days, it is not. Okay? Of course, 3 months, they call it rain retreat, from the full moon day of July to the full moon day of October. They call it a rain retreat. That's the period the monks practice for themselves. Okay, that is, so it's more like a compulsory 3 months is. Of course, everybody has their own assignment, but those who are practicing is 3 months. And when they are practicing 3 months, they don't have these kind of great grand buildings with their furnace and hot air and electricity and stuff. They go to the forest. Maybe you're lucky enough, you might have a hut or a tree or a little stick put on thatches. That's how you live. That's where you meditate. And wherever they choose, it is not too far. It's not too far, maybe about half an hour or 45 minutes walk to the nearest village or dwelling place where the people lives, because they have to depend on these people for food. So every day they have to go for the alms round. So there's a certain time you actually have to put a robe on, take your bowl and walk down there, take the food. When you're collecting the food, you are engaging with people. Of course, you don't talk. You don't see monks going on an arm round, standing and talking with the people. And then come back, sit at a proper place, you eat. Proper place means a place that's not too far from water, so that you have water to drink and water to wash your bowl. And after that, you come back and you meditate. So there's a lot of activities. You're walking to the village, coming, I suppose that will take about a couple of hours, and then eating, washing, drinking, shower, washing your robes, and so on and so forth. In other words, nobody is doing anything for you. You have to do everything for yourself. So that's quite a bit of it. So if you divided your waking hours into 3 modes, in general, about 1/3 of the waking hours will be sitting, 1/3 of the waking hours will be walking, and the other will be general activities, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So there's a lot to do on that daily activities, a lot more than the modern yogis who are meditating at the retreat center. So because of that, the Buddha gives a lot of detailed instruction on these so-called daily activities. It becomes a chapter by itself or a sutra by itself. And in there, the Buddhists had used the word sampajanya. Sampajanya. People who goes to Goenka retreat are quite familiar with that word sampajanya. But I do not know exactly how one understood that word, sampajanya. And on the sampajanya, Buddha explained quite in detail. So this sampajanya, the word, okay, is translated into English as, some translated as daily activities, some translated as details on generality, details on generality. Or you can say everything other than sitting meditation and formal walking meditation. Use the word formal. Formal walking meditation is just a path about 20 feet in length, back and forth. But have to remember, the monks go to the alms round, they are doing walking meditation. For about 30 minutes or 45 minutes, they are walking to the village. There's also walking meditation. So all these activities they are doing, sampajanya is translated as daily activities, general activities or details of the generalities of daily life, or everything other than sitting meditation or walking meditation that engage. That's for when you are in the rain retreat, okay, that's more stringent and more what you call straight and narrow, because you minimized. But there are 9 months the monks are left other than rain retreat. In there too, they have to engage with people. They have to engage with people, and they have to engage in their own community. Monks and monks, teachers and students, and little samanera, and then novice bhikkhu, and bhikkhus, and senior bhikkhus, so many things, vinaya, study, so many activities are there. So when Buddha said sampajanya, daily activities, doesn't end or finish with retreat setting only. It covers every aspect of the monk's life. Every aspect. In other words, all 365 days of the years, you are and you must or you should be in this mode of sampajanya, or you should be in the meditation mode of daily activities. All activities must be in the meditation mode or mindful mode. That kind, it expands to that level. So in here too, that's why I mention, not just in retreat, carry your meditation back to the world. Whenever you go back to job, you go back to school, whatever activities are, be aware, be aware, be aware. Carry that meditation back with you. Or in other words, we said, this is simply a lifestyle. Meditation is a part of your life. Mindfulness is a part of your life. You have to do it as a lifestyle. Because that is the lifestyle for the monk. It puts under the word, covers under the word of sampajanya. Sampajanya is a lot wider, a lot wider and bigger. Sampajanya goes beyond retreat setting. Sampajanyas go to every activities in a non-retreat setting, every engagement with under any condition. That sampajanya is there. In other words, meditation is there at all time. Sampajanya. Daily activities, details and generalities, everything other than sitting and walking meditation. Or very loosely translated, okay, this is a Burmese way, but not precise. Common sense. Sampajanya, common sense. Everything you do must be done with common sense. Of course, common sense has a quantitation behind it. Not to hurt, not to harm, not to be cruel to anybody. To save, to help, to love and be kind, and be compassionate to everybody. These kind of ideas totally develop or envelop that word common sense. Common sense with those qualities in a Burmese sense is called sampajanya. I don't say Pali sense, I said Burmese sense. That's how the lay Burmese took that word into the understanding, sampajanya. Common sense with all those qualities, without unwholesome nature, enveloping with wholesome nature, that is sampajanya. So in this sampajanya, the Buddhas taught us, and we have been split and explained into 4 different types. The first one is called Sattaka Sampajanya. Sattaka Sampajanya. In other words, must be whatever you are doing must be beneficial to yourself, to all others. Another one is Sappaya Sampajanya. Whatever you do must be in harmony in terms of times and space and objects. And the third one is called Gosara Sampajanya. Gosara Sampajanya is whatever you do, you must be always in the mode of meditation. That doesn't mean sitting on your butt and then watching rising, falling, or breathing in and out. Mindful, mindful, present, 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 be present. Mindful at the present moment. Gosara Sampajanya. And then the fourth one is called Asamoha Sampajanya. That means you must be always in the mode of seeing this mind and matter as it really is. This is a short and precise translation of these 4. So, as the time has passed by, next week we are going to discuss about these 4 in detail. Okay. Sampajanya is called daily activities, general activities, everything under the sun, under the formal sitting and walking meditation, or common sense without unwholesomeness and enveloping with wholesomeness. And it is approached in 4 different ways. The Buddha explained us. So may all of you be able to practice Satipatthana Vipassana meditation precisely, correctly, inclining your mind towards the cessation of all phenomena, observing deeply and penetratively, continuously with no break and no gap. And may you be able to attain insight as soon as possible. Sadhu, Sadhu, sadhu. Buddham pujami. Dhammam pujami. Sangham pujami.